The big one to try and diminish Ben, didn't he? He tried to make Ben look silly by offering him £1 million bet. And apparently, Eddie doesn't know the governance of his own sport. As a promoter, a licensed promoter, he can't bet. And so, of course, Chris has called him out. And now Eddie, being the master snake oil salesman he is suggesting that it's a conspiracy theory that people want him to take the bet so he can get fined on his licence. Nonsense!
He wants that fight. So the fight's going to happen.
That's him just selling it to the media that I pulled up on him while he's wagering. And most people will fall for it.
Conor Benn said to us that will be his next fight. Is that it now? Next fight is going to be Conor Benn for you, Chris?
As long as he gets his license back, the fight's next.
Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn are set to face off in one of the most anticipated fights of the year on April 26th. With a history of family rivalry, weight concerns, and a shocking bet controversy, this fight has all the ingredients for an explosive showdown. Eddie Hearn, Benn's promoter, made headlines when he challenged Eubank Jr. with a £1 million bet on Benn to win. He likely expected Eubank Jr. to hesitate or back down, but instead, Eubank Jr. accepted immediately, flipping the pressure back onto Hearn.
We're going to have a bigger bet. We're going to have £1 million.
You want to do £1 million on Conor Benn?
In escrow tomorrow morning.
He has
I'm telling you now, £1 million in escrow tomorrow morning.
On what?
On what? On the fight.
You're going to bet £1 million on Conor Benn?
In escrow tomorrow morning.
Eddie. Come on, Eddie. £1 million, eh? Okay. Let's find out if you're a man of your word or just a lying hype job. I formally accept your £1 million bet. And the £1 million will be our own personal money. Not company money or purse money, just a straight up bet between me and you. The money will go into escrow and the winner takes all.
But then a major issue was revealed. Hearn, as a licensed promoter, is not allowed to place bets on fights. This led to criticism, with some calling him out for making an offer he legally couldn't fulfill. Now, fans and experts are questioning whether Hearn made the bet just for publicity. Promoter Ben Shalom then stepped in, suggesting a way to make the bet official. He called for a promoter's bonus, where the losing fighter's camp would pay the winner's camp £1 million. This would make the bet legitimate while avoiding gambling rules.
Bet, and I've looked into it, that bet can go ahead between the promoters as a promoter bonus.
Really?
So for me, Eddie made that bet, Eddie made that offer. Whether we call it a bonus, whatever we want to do, the other one camp will pay the other camp £1 million if it loses, and the other camp should pay the other camp £1 million if it loses. We're on, I'm on, there's a way to do it. I know he's going on about all these rules now that I was...
With the pressure mounting, all eyes are on Hearn. Will he find a way to keep his word, or will he step back and face embarrassment? One of the biggest talking points of this fight is the weight difference. Conor Benn is naturally a smaller fighter and is moving up 2 weight classes for this fight. While he has skill, speed, and aggression, the extra weight could slow him down or make him less effective. At his usual weight, he would likely be the favorite. But against a naturally bigger, stronger Eubank Jr., things get much tougher. On the other hand, Chris Eubank Jr. has his own challenge. He needs to cut weight to make the agreed limit, which could weaken him.
Chris Eubank Sr. was pushing very hard for that should be the fight with the Benn family, not his son, Harlem. Chris Eubank.
Listen, go on, sorry.
Well, I was going to say that we could well see a Ben Eubank 4 if Ben succeeds in a way against Chris Eubank, or
I think it'll be a mismatch, just as much a mismatch as the presses have been. It will be a similar format, playing out in the physical. Chris is way too much, and that will become evident as the rounds go on in the fight.
Some experts, like Carl Frampton, believe that Eubank Jr. might not even make the weight properly. Instead, he might take the financial penalty and enter the fight heavier and stronger. If that happens, Ben could find himself facing a much bigger opponent who isn't drained from weight cutting. This makes the fight unpredictable. Will Benn's speed and skill overcome Eubank's size, or will Eubank's strength be too much for Benn to handle? This fight is more than just another match. It's personal.
It's quite difficult sometimes, especially if you're dry like Chris Eubank. He will struggle to stay within that £10 limit. I have a feeling he won't do it. I have a feeling he'll agree to it. He'll pay a fine and maybe weigh in 15 or 16 pounds over.
But who did he fight recently? And he looked like he was completely dead at the weight.
His last fight.
Was it Liam Smith, the first one?
Yeah.
He looked like he looked awful.
Brutal. And that's how hard it is to make. That's why I think it's kind of the rehydration clause puts things slightly more into Conor Benn's favour, which is unfair.
But Eubank Jr. is his own man, and that's what he's always tried to make out. This is me, this is my career, and this is how I do things. Dad, that was your era, that was your time, blah, 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 let me do this. But I'm sure he'd love to have him sat ringside watching him.
Their fathers, Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr., had one of boxing's biggest rivalries in the 1990s. Now their sons continue that legacy, carrying the pressure of family history into the ring. Eubank Jr. has always wanted to step out of his father's shadow and prove he can make it on his own. Meanwhile, Benn wants to show that he belongs at the highest level despite the weight difference. Both men have something to prove.
Yeah, I think the difficulty for Conor Benn in this fight is the weight and is the size. I think he's a better fighter. And I think at a natural weight class, he's a big favourite in the fight. But coming up 2 weight classes, it makes it a 50-50 fight. And you ain't going to blink in this one.
Maybe a very disappointing fight if we find out when Chris steps in there against Conor that he is much, much too big for him. But I think they'll play 12 rounds and I think we'll get 2 fights. I just have this weird feeling about it.
And that's what makes this fight even more exciting. Some believe Eubank Jr.'s size and experience will give him an easy win. Others think Benn's hunger and aggression could lead to a major upset. Either way, this fight promises fireworks. Who do you think will win? Let us know in the comments.